Just go this, and we'll go ahead and start.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We have several new features that I'm going to be going over. So this is really exciting. Each one of these features has a video or will have a video. There's just a handful that will have videos done by the end of this month, so January 31st. And the videos go more in depth on all of the steps on how to do something, but we will go through some workable examples. But I really want to just introduce you to all of the features that we're getting into QPro and the updates. And there's even some of these features that have been there, but we've improved upon them, what we feel is an improvement. And we love to have you utilize them and see if they feel good, if it feels like an improvement, where we can improve. And a lot of this is coming back from feedback from you, our users, and we have some great power users in QPro. So one of the first things that I'd like to talk about is permissions, because this has been long awaited. We're going to have 3 different versions of permissions. Let me explain that a little bit. The first version we just put out at the first week of January, and that's what I'm going to show you here. It's very limited because this is us rolling out the first set to get you used to it, how it works, and then it's just with the setup screen. I'll show you that. And then the next version is going to be the sales order screen, job costing, materials, reports. And then of course our last version will be when accounting comes out. And then every time we release new features, we'll have to update, add new permissions with those features. But just to kind of give you an idea of that, but you can start using permissions today with the setup screen, which I think a lot of you may find helpful as I've talked to you of, we love our salespeople, but they can do everything else but not get into setups now. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm currently logged in as, I'll just say admin to keep it clear for me.
Hey,
And
Alicia, I was
yeah,
also going to just add into that if people want to submit questions, we'll be
oh
watching
yes.
the question queue.
Mhm.
So as we go along here, we'll probably answer them as we go from feature to feature,
For sure.
if there
Yeah.
are
And
any. Okay.
if you notice those, Chad, and I'm not, let me know,
Yep.
and vice versa. And I always invite Chad to jump in because sometimes when I get going and to help me clarify, I get talking fast. So we encourage the questions because that's why we're here today. This is really, I have a set plan, but it's really guided to the people that join so we can help answer your questions. So we'll get started. So I'm logged in currently as an admin. And I have access to the setup screen. You guys will be all familiar with this. Well, I have another employee, and it's Leisha, and they currently don't have permissions to the setup screen, but they have permissions to everything else. And you can see when they don't have any permissions to set up, all they'll see is the tab and they won't be able to do anything else there. So let me show you real quick how to do this. If you go to employee subs, you're all very familiar with where you assign permissions. So right here, this is Leisha. Okay. Oh, I am. Let me log out and log back in. I've been playing with this a bit. 1 second. Okay. Okay. There we go. And you will notice now, everyone, before you only had one permission, and that was admin. Now we have a second one that are default, and that is going to be super admin. This super admin permission that you see is one that you cannot change any of the permissions on it. It will stay that way. And what I'm encouraging everyone to do today, as you leave this meeting or as we're going on, you'll want to pick someone, the owner, someone in your company that is the super admin, and someone else at your company that has admin rights. Everyone has at least two people set up in QPro as an admin. The person that has an admin permission, they will log in with their credentials, and then they're going to assign that person they want to be the super admin, the permission super admin, by clicking here and then saving. You cannot assign yourself permissions. Okay, so you have to do this for the other person. Then once you have a super admin set up in your company, this is when you'll want to go through and do additional permissions. If you leave it as admin right now, it's fine, but I'm encouraging everyone to find and assign a super admin as soon as possible. And if you have questions past this, let me know. Yeah, Chad?
So yeah, I was just gonna say, I think this is what's gonna happen for everybody that's already using it, right?
Mhm.
If there's a new company coming on, they'll just have the super admin in there. Is that
Exactly.
correct? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
this is just to bring everyone that's currently in QPro up to someone having super admin. It's the way that we had to update the database.
yeah.
So it's more of a technical thing here. So besides that little thing that current QPro customers have to do, let me show you what the permissions manager looks like. Okay, so we're going to go over to setup, and under company information, you'll see permissions manager. Now, the only two people that can assign permissions is someone that's in the super admin group status or admin group status. Okay. If you go to, you'll see everyone here that is current QPro customer, you'll see the admin. And currently the default is that they have all permissions. Okay. They're the same as super admin right now. So a lot of times these are interchangeable for current QPro customers. What you can do is start to think about for your own company, how you want to set up groups. We're going to have more default ones set up as we roll out the different versions with permissions, but you can already set up ones that you want to do. So I already have one in there, cells. I'm going to use this as an example for today. Let's do a new one. Say you want certain access for admin, or well, that sounds confusing. Front desk. There we go. And we're going to hit save. And now you have the front desk. Now you can imagine where we have lots and lots of permissions with future releases. It's going to have everything very, very granular of what you can do, what they have permission rights to do. So let's take, for example, cells, okay, for your salespeople, or the one I set up today. This group has, you'll notice that they have no permissions here. Okay. You'll notice with admin, all of the permissions. The way to do this is on the right. Let me go to cells here. You can click off and on, and you'll notice here, this will show what permissions they have access to. So this is showing it, it's populating as you are removing and adding them from the right. You can also add them if it's easier, or sorry, remove them from the left, and you'll notice that it matches on the right. So this is just an easy way to group and find everything that you need. The other thing to notice about this is that we want to be more descriptive of what the permissions actually mean. So let me just add a few here. And then if you'll see down at the bottom, there's a definition that gives more detail about what each permission is. So for right now, you can see I'm highlighting the group name, I'm adding and removing the permissions, and then you would hit save. The example I want to show you that I had at the very beginning was this no setup permissions for anything else. So I would maybe call this sales with your company, not have any of these checked off if you don't want them seeing anything in setup. Okay, so this is what it would look like. And you would close out, and then this is the view. Excuse me. When your salespeople sign in, they can do everything in sales currently, in materials. They can still see the employee screen, reports. but their setup would look like this. They wouldn't have access to anything like that. So this is our first version with permissions. Anything to add there, Chad? Is that
It looks like they can change colors.
well, I'm distinguishing here, yeah, between I'm signed in as a different
I'm
user.
just teasing. So
Yeah.
just to kind of recap, I think what you're saying is this is kind of the first rollout of permissions where we're prohibiting people, employees from playing around in the setup screens, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in the near future, like in the coming weeks, I mean, it's pretty imminent that you're going to add restrictions on sales orders and job costing and things of that. So
Yep.
that will be rolling out. So this is kind of a first step. Start to
Yeah.
set up the groups and start
Mhm.
playing around with this so that when these next versions roll out, they'll be ready for those.
They'll be ready and used to understanding turning them off and on, how to assign people to a permission group. They can be assigned to more than one permission group, but this is just to get you playing around with it and seeing how that works with setups. Yep. All right. So let's move on to the column preferences manager tool. This has been out for a while, but I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of it because creating reports or the list on the left is very useful and meaningful to you. And so we wanted to make a way where you can really customize it and make it look the way that you want to be beneficial. And so when you are on here on the left, we've completely changed this. So you can, again, it's kind of going to have that same look as permissions. What you're doing on the left is populating on the right. So when you're clicking on this, this is showing, let me go back, which columns will appear here. Okay, so if you're trying to do a report that you need, you want to even print out, I would say just do the minimum amount of columns you need so you can get all the right data and have it print nicely for you. Or you can have as many as you like, and that works well with the scroll bar here on the screen. So you can select the columns that you want to show. The other thing is that you can move and drop these in an order that you want. So if you're looking for the gross profit right up by the cell number, that you can move it there. You can also determine the width of the column and have full control over that. So if you have things that like a cell order number should, it's a very set usually, but if you have something that you want to have a lot more space for, you do that with this column width, and you can increase the width. You can see it gives you an idea of what size that will look like. So it's a very easy tool to kind of set up your own column widths. And then justification. We recognize that with numbers, a lot of people like it lined up with the right, other things on the left, some centered. So you have full control how your reports look. So I just want to make sure that you are all aware of how to do that. Anything else there, Chad?
Nope.
Okay. Another feature that we rolled out was the templates feature. So this is really helpful, especially when you're trying to do quick creation of similar sales orders. Like say, maybe you're doing a bunch of apartment buildings, or you probably have a lot of use case situations that for your own store that you're aware of. Templates come in super handy for this situation. There's a couple ways that you can do this. You'll notice that we now have it says temp here, templates. We're talking of ways to make these more clear with the space that we have. But this tab now is filtering out just the templates. Now, the way to kind of think of this is a template looks just like a sales order, except it has, you'll notice at the top right, this different, I guess you could say status or type that it is. It's still the status here, but there's these different types on templates. I want to start off with an example of you've already created a sales order and you want to create, you know that you're going to be using that a lot, like the header information and all the lines, and you can edit these just like you would a sales order, but you want that template. So we'll choose my name here. Well, that's not a good one. No one likes to create good stuff today. Okay, here we go. So what you would do is you would select the sales order that you want to create the template from, and you would hit this button right next to the save button. It's the duplicate button. It can be used in two ways. It can be used to duplicate sales order just once or to turn it into a template. Let's see if there's a payment on this. That's not my favorite one right now. Let's make it quicker for here. Okay, let's do this. Unlock. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this sales order. Now you'll notice when I duplicate it, it says proposal, but it has the location and new. That's how you know that this is a new sales order. And we're going to turn it into a template simply by choosing template and hitting save. Where there's no payment on this, no job costing, no anything, you're not going to get any message. If there is, there's some things that you have to do there, some steps to take. But now this is turned into a template. You can see it's over in our templates tab. Chad, were you going to say something?
Yeah, let me just make sure. So what you're saying is you can take any previous sales order that you've created in the system and just make a copy. And you don't have to make that into a template. You could just copy that sales order over and over and over again, right?
Yep.
But the use for templates is to kind of separate those sales orders over into a different section so that they can kind of be separated and you can organize them a little bit differently. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
Yep.
that's kind of and yeah, I was just going to add, for people that are doing multifamily housing, this is a huge feature for those. It's almost a must-have, right, for that section of the flooring industry for multifamily housing. So I don't know if anybody here is doing that, but this is really a kind of required thing. But to do the same thing over and over again, quite a useful feature.
Yeah, it's very useful. And you can create a template from scratch too. If you just click the new button and set it as a template, you can create the sales order just like that, or sorry, the template like this, and click save. The key here is what you're choosing up at the top right. Going off of that, we also added voiding. So if we go to, let's go to one that I didn't like this morning. Let's say it was, this looks like an error. There's 2 Jeff Jones and no information. So say we want to put this at, we want to void the sales order. Now there's specifics, situations where you, if anything is job costed a payment, you're going to get notifications for that. But this should go through just fine to void. Say, okay, it's voided. Now to see a void, you do have to go to all cells, and then you can see the different, oh, I've messed up my columns over here. Oh, there we go. There's the statuses. If you want to see all voids, you would do that, but that's the only place that you'll see voids is in all cells and by filtering it out. So that's also a very helpful thing. Anything else on those, Sharon?
No, I think
Okay.
that's kind of what we're doing.
Okay. So this next thing is pretty new.
Hold on, we got a
Yeah.
question here.
Oh, it
Once you
is.
have a template in the template tab, how do you create a new sales order from it?
Yeah, great question. So let's get rid of that filter there. So you would just, let's do one with some information on it. You would just click duplicate. And it's already put it into proposal status. So if this one, if you just did this and we're gonna say Bobby Builder, we're gonna put 2 on this just so we can separate it for our purposes and hit save. Now you can edit anything you want, the header, you know, any of the lines, but now we go to total sales and here we go, because it's in proposal status. So proposals tab, all cells will show proposals and orders, but there it is right there. And you can see it's duplicated right from that one. So it's very easy to do that. Great question. Okay, so The next thing is to automatically add contacts to the contact manager. So as we continue to have QPro be more robust, we want it to be a place to help manage to leads and customers. In QPro and QFloors, there's 3 types of contacts, you could say. One is called contact. We call it contact, and it's more generic. And then you have customer and vendors. Now, customers have, these are oftentimes, my understanding, Chad, you can come in, are people that are repeat. They're going to be coming in multiple times. And so sometimes we like to tag them as customers because it's easier to find your list. Your list can become very crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen unmanageable sometimes with all the people that you're selling to, but you want to keep their data. But we find people that are repeat customers that we tag them as a customer, and it's easier to find. You have a little bit more information you can save with a customer, like if you're using QPay, you can save tokens, things like that. And then we have vendors, and obviously that's a much bigger distinction. And there's a lot of things that you save on vendors. So I should be showing this as I'm talking. For instance, customer accounts. These are your customer accounts.
Notice
Vendor
she went to the
accounts.
setup
Oh,
menu up at the top, right?
setup.
Setup tab, yeah.
And left, and vendor has a lot more information for B2B, things like this. Well, this is one way to manage your customer accounts and vendor accounts. Or when I say manage, to create, you can create them from here. But there's a second place you can create and manage contacts, customers, and vendors, and that is in the contact manager. So some of you have probably already used this. You can see these are contacts. We're going to have, we're rolling
Lisa,
out.
why don't you point again to where you
Oh,
clicked on?
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so I'm up here in the top right. You'll see this little icon with the person, and that is the contact manager. In the contact manager, so what this new feature is when you create a sales order and you're putting in the information in sold to, when you go to save that sales order, it's checking the contact manager by phone number and email and seeing if they're already in the contact manager. If they are not, it adds it automatically. And this is to help you build your contact manager. At that point, they're just flagged as, if they're new, they're just flagged as a contact. And this is one way to start to get the lead information and keep, it's very cool when customers come back, 5 years later and your information's in there and it feels very personable, and it helps you with your campaigns. And there's a lot of uses for this. Now, there are some customers that use a contact manager outside of QPro. They find they want more control over this. So there is a way to turn this off if you absolutely don't like it. I, as a person that's been over marketing before, would highly encourage you not to keep it on. But if you want to turn it off, you can go to, and when I say turn it off from automatically adding people to the contact manager when they aren't matching. Okay. So if you go to setups, and I believe it's under, company information. So setup, company information, you'll see preferences. You will turn this off. Auto save contacts. Right now, for everyone, when we released this just a couple weeks ago, it's the default for everyone to have that checked. So if you don't like it, make sure you go in and turn it off. Otherwise, leave it on. And then there's a whole video about how to convert a contact to a customer, or contact to a vendor. I'll show you real quick with just customer. All you would do is go back to the contact manager, click, and there's a button down here that says convert to customer account. Okay. When you convert to a customer account, now it's tagged as a customer account, and you can, we are also doing an update in 2 weeks. We're working on it right now where it keeps it at the top when you do that conversion. So it keeps you looking at that same record. but now they are tagged as a customer. Okay. The reason why I think we have a question, why is there
Yeah.
not company name for customers?
I think if you go over to the customer account list, right there, they're asking, you got last
Oh,
name, first name, where's the customer, company name?
because it can be both a person or a person's name or a company. I believe in QFloors does this too. We use the last name as that field. So you
Yeah.
don't need to have a first name, you can just have a last name.
Yeah, in Q floors, we have a feature that we will put in here later as we go along that will allow you to rename that field to be whatever you want. So
Oh, I
instead of
see
just
right
saying
there.
last name, you can name it and put it last name, company name, or just company name or whatever. So yeah, we've already created the feature in Q floors. We're familiar with it. And eventually we'll add that there. But for right now, just know that you can use that top field for either last name or company name.
Dean says you can't save without a first name. I do see the required field on there. Dennis just recently went and cleaned some of these up. You could before, so if you can't, we will have that fixed. You should be able to save without a first name when it's a customer. So I will double check that. So, okay. You tried yesterday. Okay. He really literally did it this week. So I will make sure. So that's a good thing to bring up. Thank you, Dean. All right. So, because that will get weird when you're doing, like you can see some of our older data here doesn't have a first name. So
So
that's
can
the way
I
it
can
should
I
be.
chime in here for 1 second,
Uh-huh.
Alicia? So kind of
Yep.
the idea here is customer accounts would be repeat customers, people that are doing things over and over again. So you can see how you would use this customer account feature with the template feature, right? You've got an apartment complex that you're doing over and over again. The apartment complex would be in here as a customer account. And then you would be doing these templates for that customer over and over again. Okay. Um, where contacts comes into play, it could be anything. It could be, your reps, it could be any person, your dog, whatever, right? And so customer accounts are just the reason we do that is in products like QuickBooks and stuff, they mix their contacts and their customer accounts together, and it makes it really messy. It can make it really messy. So we're making it so that the customer accounts are very prominent and easy to find and easy to manage, separate from the contacts.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Chad. And we have some people giving some suggestions, so make sure and check those out. They're saying searching is based off last name. We found that listing the company in the last name box is best for that reason. It also displays nicely on the sales order report. Yep, thank you. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to touch base on this with the contact manager automatically adding it is because we added that feature, but also to show you how this also can make your life really easy or help speed up the efficiency of your team when they're creating new orders. Let's go to a new order, okay? And if you click, notice it's the same icon. So the contact manager will always stay in the top right, but there's another one that uses the same icon because it's similar to the contact manager. It looks a lot the same. You're not here to edit anything. You're not here to manage it when you click the button right above the sales order here. What this is for is to search and choose a contact to bring into that sold to field. Okay, so this is a great use for what Chad is saying is to go to the customers and you can easily populate that field. Their information's already there. You have a lot of stuff already filled out just by doing that. The cool thing about this that we just updated to is if let's say, for example, your sold to, ship to, and bill to happen to be different on each one. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. You could go to ship to and you could do the same thing. Select a contact. Say you have this customer in there, but you know, their shipped to and sold to are going to be different. You could create their information in here twice if that's helpful. I'm not saying that's the best use case, but let's just, for example, you can hit select and now it's populated there. So we have the sold to, shipped to, bill to. Okay. You can do the same thing on bill to. I'm going to show you this new feature that we put in that's really cool. We had some people, even in QPro 1 and QPro 2, give us some feedback that it was really confusing because we wanted to build the headers to make it efficient, because a lot of times customers will want, well, especially our charges, sold to, bill to should always match sold to unless the customer or you, the user, wants to overwrite bill to. But then what became a problem is if you save a sales order, then you go back to sold to, it's not going to update bill to on the second say. It was all these confusing rules because we were trying to anticipate how you would be using this. What we decided to do is to make this give you more functionality, and I hope that you'll really like it. So what you'll see is when I brought in the contact information to sold to, and it automatically populates to bill to. Because we have this default checkbox, this will be on. And when that is on, no matter what you do to sold to, how many times you save it, go back into it, whatever, it's going to always update and reflect on bill to. It locks in bill to. So those two will always match. Okay. If you uncheck this, which is fine, you can do it on every time you do a sales order or on those special ones. When you unlock that and now you change something on sold to, I'm just taking the S off, it will leave it here, and vice versa. If you change something up here, just put a T, it's not going to affect sold to. So this gives you complete control of what you want it to do. Now, let's say you've made a mistake and you're like, oh, I really want to get shipped to onto bill to. You can go to bill to and you'll notice these buttons at the top say you sold to, you shipped to. Okay, so now at any point, if you've made a mistake or you need to update, you don't need to override it and try and second guess. You can say, oh, nope, on sold to, I want everything from sold to be on shipped to and bill to now. I made a mistake. So you say you sold to, or you can lock it in like this. And now they all match. So we hope this gives you, I'm excited. I know this seems like, oh, okay, that's nice, but it's a lot going on there to make it efficient, but also try and cover all the cases with how you need it to show the information. So a lot of my understanding is a lot of people, it will go like this, where all three of these are same or maybe something slightly different on ship to. So let me start a new sales order to show you what I think will happen in a lot of cases. You're going to go up to the contact manager. We're going to choose this person, select. If you are typing through, you exit the email field. It will still ask you that question for any people that were on Q floors or on QPro 1, and it will populate ship to, and then bill to's locked in. So right there, they're all the same. If that's the majority of the situation you find yourself in, there's nothing for you to do. If you're working with customers that these are all different or slightly off on something, it gives you full control over this. And if you make a mistake, you can copy it from either one of the other fields. So that's something that I might be way too excited about, but hopefully that makes sense. Let's see, any questions on that? No? Okay.
Summary. You have
Yes.
ultimate flexibility on
Yeah.
putting sold to, ship to, and bill to
Yeah,
in there. That's the summary, right?
that's the summary, because sometimes people start typing, they don't realize which tab they're on. We've had just all these cases and they're like, I have to retype it. And so we really tried to listen to people, because this is a tedious thing that can happen, right? Who wants to keep filling in customer information over and over again in a header 3 times if you're making mistakes? So, okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, I get this question a lot. So this isn't really showing a new feature. I just wanted to bring this up, Chad, because it comes up a few times with people. I just want to make sure that everyone understands the difference between notes and comments and then sales order terms and conditions. So real quick, when you go to print a sales order, there are this I'm going to show you where you put this. A lot of you have probably already used it. It's called terms and conditions, and it will print on every sales order at the bottom. Okay. If you go to setup and you go to, oh, sorry, reports, old habit, and you go to preferences. So we're on reports and you go to preferences. There's the sales order preferences. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, these are terms and conditions, or you can put anything you like there. There's also a field. This is another reason why I want to bring this up in this meeting. It says click here to pay online. So Chad, do you want to talk real quick about QPay, or is there to this group?
So
What
yeah,
would you like to say?
this is a just an addition of something that we've added recently, where you can add this link in to all of your sales orders that are sent out. So when your customer receives the sales order, they can click on that link right there, and it will take them to a website where they can type in their information, their credit card information, or their bank account information to pay a bill. So it's pretty nice. So you can see this is the website that it takes them to right here, where they can fill in their information, right? So this is a new feature that we have in QPro, where you can put that at the bottom of every one of your sales orders right now.
Yeah.
You want. So
Question from Dean, does that work in Canada?
Canada, we do not have QPay for Canada customers yet. So only in the US.
Another thing to, I'll show this in a second, but it's clickable, and you can, well, let's split. I'm getting ahead of myself now. So we'll go back to it. So these are the terms and conditions. Okay. So
I
if we
think
go back,
I think the cool part that like QFloors users are going to appreciate is all those terms and conditions and everything. You can format them, right?
oh, yeah.
We're like in QFloors, we have similar features, but it's plain text. You can't format it. So
Yep. And you can kind of see that here. You can also see that it's clickable, like we were showing. You can download this as a PDF, and you can mail it or email it out to the customer, or this is another feature we just added in QPro, is emailing out of QPro. You can see this email button here. Oh, I should show you where there's another part to this email. I'll show you in a second, but it brings in, if there's an email on the sales order, it brings in the email to the customer's email. It will put in it will copy the employee that is signed into QPro. It'll take their email and it will put it from, and then it will be a blind copy. So you also get a copy of that email when you send it out to so you have a copy of that email when it sends out to the customer. There is a couple things here though. In order to use this emailing out, so you can email out sales orders, you can email payment receipts, you can email out any reports from that report tab we were just on, okay? But you do have to do some setup on your end, so the customer will receive your email. It's a relay server that you have to use through QFloors, and one of the main things is that you have to have your company, a domain, or your website. So we'll say ogdensflooring.com, that you have to have an email that uses your domain of your website. So like chad@ogdensflooring.com. That's a requirement in order to do this. If you just have chad@gmail, it's not going to work. That's the first requirement. There is one other requirement with an IP setting, and I don't want to get too technical here on this. If you have an IT person that helps you at your business, they will know exactly this or the person that runs your website. Otherwise, we have documentation on how to do this, but support, Chad, if I'm right, support is very versed in helping people with this. I don't know the limit of what they can and can't help with, but
Yeah, no,
our support department.
I I don't I don't think that IP requirement that you're talking about, Alicia. Are you
Is
sure
that
about
no
that?
longer a part?
Yeah.
I'm just going off the documentation in
No,
the
oh,
knowledge
that no,
base.
you don't
Okay.
need it because
Hmm.
QPro go is the same IP address. So we don't have to whitelist that. Only the
Oh,
people that have software locally installed.
oh,
So,
got you.
so it
Okay.
all the only requirement is they have to be using email addresses with their domain, with their
Okay.
website domain. That's
Sorry,
it.
I should have confirmed that
And
with you. Well, that's
and
even
then
better.
and then the
So,
person that's managing your website can help you uh, put the settings in to make sure that your emails are not gonna go to spam. That's really
yeah.
the biggest
Mhm.
requirement. So
And after this meeting, we're going, or in a couple days when we get the rest of the videos updated, you're going to get an email for those that are attending that have links to the videos of all the things we're talking about. So you can go in detail and see them. And then instructions for that. And then also information if you want to do QPay. And then how to get the links if you're already using QPay, how to get that set up with QConnect to get that link generated for you. So you're not here to memorize and take notes on all of this stuff. We'll get you everything I'm going over after this meeting, or over in this meeting. So, okay. One thing I want to point out so I don't forget here is you'll notice this signature here. You can edit and put like in a nice message that's custom to this Bobby Builder person. But if you want to customize your email, let me show you where that
your
is.
signature,
Your
the
email
signature that goes
signature.
out every time, right?
Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
email signature. You can go to setup and is it under other settings? I believe other setting under the color scheme. You'll see email signature, edit. And again, this has you have some control over some formatting too. So you can do the signature, but you can also add, if there's something that would be general to everybody too, you can add a little bit more here. So, okay. So I think that's exciting stuff. All right. I left, let me do this last one, the materials document manager, and then I kind of left the last one, which is one of my favorite updates for today, and that's the advanced product search. So the materials document manager, let me just go over this in sales. Most of you have probably already used this. If you're on a sales order, oh, Chad, I didn't go
I know.
over. Okay.
You're okay. We can come
Oh,
back to it. So
okay. I just realized as I saw job cost
yeah.
there. So, one, you'll see documents. Okay. So, oh, and I didn't finish my notes and comments. Let me get back to that one too. So this is the document manager. And a lot of this has been around since we first released QPro. I don't know what it will open into my documents. I would hate to have you see all the pictures of my bunnies and eagles that I take out here every day. So just trust that you would browse your files, upload it, and you can save by sales order any documents that you want. So any PDFs, images, pictures, legal, whatever you want to do to attach it to a sales order. Okay. We have the same now in materials. You can have documents assigned to a specific material. So that's just new. And I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that that was there and it works the exact same way. Okay. All right. So let me go back real quick to finish up the difference between, I brought up certain terms and conditions, which is what we'll print on every sales order. And you're setting that up in the setup screen, what we went over just a minute ago. Comments, sales order comments is by sales order. Again, we've selected a sales order. And so this would be specific to a sales order. You can add comments, you can format them, do lots of cool things, and this will print on a sales order. The biggest thing here is these are you can keep editing them. So you can hit close, but you need to hit save here. Okay. just like if you make any other save or edit on the header or the lines, you need to hit save there. So let's go back to, not documents, let's go back to comments. You can see Bobby. We want to add something else. So we do this. Okay, you've got to hit save. And
Well,
I'll be
if
clear.
you try to go somewhere else and don't hit save,
It won't.
it barks at you, right?
We need to probably make it bark louder, because what can happen is people start doing things and they don't hit save like
Yeah,
this. And
but it barks at you. It
right
tells you.
here,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't
But
go.
yeah,
If you push OK, what happens?
it will go to the next sales order,
Oh, well,
and it will.
we got to bark louder.
That's what I said.
All
We
right.
got to talk a little louder. So I just didn't want people to keep being like, where are my comments with this? Okay, so I wanted just to make that clear. Work order comments, same things. This will only print on work orders, okay, on that specific work order, and you have to save it the same way. Okay, so close, save. Now, there's a thing that we have that's called notes, and notes are different than comments. Notes are, sorry, I am in a habit, and our old icon used to be that. We have two types of notes. Now, these are internal notes. These are not going to be printed. Okay, so these are things to help between you and the salespeople. They're internal, and they're also, you can't edit them, and they're time stamped, and it has the employee that did the note. So we'll just say
Test
test
note.
here,
Yeah. Note.
test here,
Put note.
toast note.
Yeah.
Okay, per Chad.
Yeah.
And then to save these, though, they're saved at a different level, and it's a little confusing. We may have to rethink this a little bit, but for right now, it's a difficult thing to change. You're going to hit save right away. And the reason is these are saved immediately. You can't edit them. They're just saved a little differently. And I think that is confusing, and I understand that, and we're looking at that, but you can see this has a timestamp. It's internal. It won't be printed. Same thing if these are more dealing with installation type notes. You would do that. You can have a generic note. Okay, in this one, test 3, and hit save. But notice all notes, you can do a generic one, which is general, but it also brings in the installation notes and the sales order notes. So sales order notes will only show here, installation notes will only show here. All notes, you'll see them all in this. So were the timestamp notes changed to reflect the time zone marked per company? I forgot to check this update. Mindy, this is a bigger update, because it's actually based on our servers in Utah. And so, Chad, this is one that we're looking into to have it based on the user's location. But the way it's currently done, it's
Company
based
location. Company location.
company location.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, not customer. Think of our customer. Yeah,
Mhm.
company. So yeah, Mindy, that is something that we want. We definitely want that to reflect your time zone, not just the standard one. Utah is not the standard in across the world. So, okay. All right. Okay. Should I do job costs next? Chad, you're calling the shots.
I'm calling the
Or do you
shots.
want
Go
me?
ahead.
Okay, so we had a request from some of our customers, some users of QPro.
No, this is
First
also
off,
a Q Force thing. It's also,
that's true. You guys match it
so
the way that
that's
it
why
works
we're
more.
matching it. So it's a Q Force thing too.
Okay. So with job cost, uh, this is one of the most important feature. I just want to touch on this real quick, because this is one of the most important features of using QPro, especially when you're putting in all the right information, you're using QPro as it's intended to be used, because this is what tells you if you're making money. This tells you your profits. This gives you an idea by order what a job costs and what your margin's going to be, what your profit's going to be on this. And so it looks a little different than QPro 1, and it definitely looks different than QFloors. So one thing, what you're looking at here is the sales order. I clicked, let me go back. This is the job cost button. And off to the right, you don't want to have this up if the customer can see your screen, or they probably shouldn't be seeing your screen most of the time. But this is when you're looking to see what your costs are. And so if you'll notice on the left-hand side here, these are the product lines, the labor lines. They match up. When you click on one, they highlight over here to the right. On the left-hand side, all you're seeing is the retail price, what you're charging the customer. On the right-hand side, you're seeing aligned the retail price, what the customer pays, but also the cost right below. So you see unit price, total price, and then right below it, you see the cost. And then you can see the margin, and you can see that line by line. It breaks it down for you. Then if you go up to the top, you can see your profit before commissions up here. Let me highlight it right here. Profit after commissions. These are the commissions right here. It's a great way to get an idea of what this job is costing. Any more you want to say on that, Chad?
Yeah. So, it's over the years, we've found this to be one of the most important features in QFloors and now in QPro, that people in general in the industry have not known in the past how much they're making on their jobs that they're doing. And this feature is pretty unique to us, right? Most people have to go to a separate screen, a separate page. The fact that you can see everything right here in one place is pretty unique. And the fact that you can click on either side of those windows and you'll see where it corresponds on the other window is a pretty unique feature. We've added more to the right-hand side so that you can quickly change all of the numbers right there without having to go back to the sales order screen on the left, right? So pretty cool feature that we've put in here, probably one of the highlights of our software, both in QFloors and now in QPro on steroids, right? Kind of a very much more advanced way of doing this. So.
And one of the updates that we did to match QFloors is the ability to make a cost. So we're talking about cost, right, as sticky. And you can turn it off and on. It's a preference, and I'll show you where that preference is. So when it's not sticky, when you are changing a product, when you're changing an installer, when you're changing something on the line, it's going to update that cost. So when you are adding something to a sales order from the product catalog, how you have it set up in the product catalog, the price and the cost, that's what's being pulled into the lines here. When you are then assign a material, what you have on the material, if what the cost is on a specific material, it will update here. Now, some people want to manually put in a cost and make that sticky. So they want to put in 5, and no matter what they change on the left-hand side, when they've manually done that, that cost will stay.
So
Did I explain that right?
Yeah, so let's think about the situation here. Let's say that you've accepted a bid or something for a contract that you're bidding out, and you don't want that cost to change because it's customized, right? You want it to stay there, you want it to stick. And so those are the situations if you're doing a lot of contract work, GC work, or sometimes even with things like multifamily housing, some of those situations. Sometimes that situation is when this arises. Normal retail jobs, you would never do this, right? So
Great. And the place to do that, if you go to setup, I think this is under company information right here. Company information, so setup, and then lock manually enter job costing costs. We'll work on that, but this is where you will, it sounds funny when I say it versus just reading it, but that when it's checked, it will lock it in if you manually enter, as Chad said. Okay. All right, so we're almost done here because we want to keep it as close to an hour as possible, but I have to end with what I think is a really cool feature, and I hope that your salespeople find it joyous. And I hope now, well, so let me wrap this up from how I started with permissions. Okay, so if in the past everyone was an admin and had permissions, so your salespeople had access to the product catalog. We don't want that, or I wouldn't want that. Usually, oftentimes it's one person in the company that is managing the product catalog, because it's it's a very important thing to have someone that's detail oriented, that knows what's going on, because if that product catalog gets unwieldy or it's not organized, it makes your life a lot harder. So we want to protect who's in there editing. Viewing might be a different story, but editing, we want to protect that. So we put in permissions to not allow certain people to see setups, and you can determine which setups that they can or can't see. But from the sales order screen, and obviously when you're sitting there working with a customer, sometimes you you have to know, when you go to do a product on a line, you have to know the description. And sometimes you may not know that, or you need to find it by other different ways of searching, and to make it easier for you. And we understand that. So QFloors has a similar type feature, and it's called Advanced Product Search. If you click here on any product line, this little magnifying glass will appear. Okay, so let me go to my example that I had set up earlier today. We're gonna go to this amazing, awesome product from Shaw. It's a real name that they have. So we'll open this up.
Well,
Advanced
you
product
clicked on
search.
the magnifying glass.
I did.
Go back and show them
Okay,
that
I'm here on
magnifying
this
glass.
line, and
Yeah.
this is to collapse and show the line, by the way. Just to the left of that is the magnifying glass. Okay, there we go. So when you open this up, you'll see what you're seeing is, since there's already a product on this line, it's Shaw, it's already filtering down the search to what was on that line. This is very important. So if you're trying to find something different than what's on that line, you must hit clear. Otherwise, you're not going to get any new results back. Okay, so that's one of the important things to remember. You can also expand this. So when we're doing search, I would expand it. If you know the manufacturer, you can start there. You don't have to. You can start with description. We already talked about the amazing whatever here. Oops. Oh, we'll get to that picture in just a second. Awesome question. So there's only one amazing here. So oh, sorry, that's the description. And then once you choose the description, you can see all the colors. You can see SKUs. You can even search by SKU in here now, where you couldn't do that before on a product line. So advanced search has a lot of different ways to really find and search what you're looking for. Okay. Say that instead of awesome, you wanted distinctive. So if you click on this line and it's on edit mode, actually, let's do the first one. Let's do add mode so we can add it. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something, Chad. If you're here, you select distinctive and you're on add mode and you say update, it's going to put that right on the sales order for you. If you chose the edit mode, it's going to change that sales order line. So let's go back to advanced. Say we messed up. Okay, remember, it's only going to show that one because it's showing what's currently on that product line. So you need to hit clear, go back to amazing. We know that it's amazing, but we're thinking we want a different color. So let's go down to excellent, and we're going to say edit now this time. So we'll go edit. You saw that amazing change to excellent.
So in
Okay.
one case, it changes what's there. In the
Mhm.
other case, it adds a new
It
line
adds it.
down to the bottom, right?
Mhm.
That's the
Yep.
difference.
Yeah. So, let's go back to awesome, because that's where I have the web services plugged into. So, Chad, you might have to talk a little bit more with this with web services. I know a little bit about
It didn't have that one
working with Shaw.
selected, by the way.
Oh, did I not do that? I'm sorry.
I don't know if you have to save it or whatever, but
Let me go back.
because it should come up with that product, right?
Uh-huh.
There it comes.
There we go. Okay. All right. So that's the top part here. If you go down to this section, okay, we had a question. Does that picture and detailed information only come in from if you're downloading your vendor's catalogs to the product catalog? Yes and no. So there, I'll show you a couple things with these pictures. This oh, it didn't line up with the SKU. Hold on one second.
There it is.
It did, but it overrode something for me. One second. I just want to make sure that I can show this to everyone. So Chad, this would usually come in through the web services, the SKU. I had to trick it here because for this.
So let me answer this question while she's
Okay.
setting this up.
Okay.
So some vendors are supporting pictures through their B2B catalog downloads, right? Very few still. It's not the majority of people. I think Engineered Floors is one of those, Dixie. We're still working with other vendors to get them to get their pictures coming down. In the future here, we will also have connections with website providers, right? And people like Roomvo. We're working right now to connect with them to get their catalogs coming in. So a lot of these pictures will be coming in through those avenues in the future. So there'll be multiple avenues where they'll be coming in. And on top of that, you can manually go and copy and paste pictures from the internet that you have and just assign them in there. So those pictures can be coming from a lot of different places. Probably right now, most of them would be manually added for in there by yourselves. Did you already have one set up in here or something, Alicia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. It has to match the right one to show the inventory with this SKU.
Okay.
That's what I'm tricking it to do. So we
So
can
she's getting to where she wants to show you where you can check the inventory of that item at the manufacturer, right? And that's going to come through B2B downloads
right here.
Yeah.
So this was through Shaw. It checks it by the SKU number, and now this is live.
It's showing you the inventory at Shaw, not in your software.
Yeah.
So that's how much Shaw is showing for this particular piece, real time. So you click on here and you'll be able to see just like that, how much inventory they've got, right?
And where it's located.
Yeah. Which warehouse it's at.
Which warehouse it's at. And there's enough for these images in here. There's enough for 3. So yes, they can be, like Chad was explaining when I was doing that. But as of right now, you could put in a URL as long as the image is hosted somewhere on the web. You can put those URLs in now in your product catalog manually.
But again, we're working. I think a lot of you know we're working with partners that we have in the industry to get those connections so that there's more available in the future. Good news is we have the capability. Now it's getting the connection in there.
So that's it.
All right. I think today the webinar here is mostly showing you some of the features that we've added in the last few months, right? I think since, you know, this last fall. And you can see that we're adding on top of a lot of things that we've already done. And, you know, as we finish the permissions out here, we are in the middle of designing the accounting module, which will be coming next. I mean, that's really the next thing up on our docket. You can see we have a lot of events features in here, a lot of things that QFloors can't do in here. Most, I would say 90% of what QFloors can do is in here. There's a few things that we're still adding, but I would say that this program can do way more than QFloors can do in these same screens, right? In the sales and materials screen. This has way more advanced capabilities than QFloors, even though there's a few things that we're still putting in there. So that's kind of the state. I mean, it's pretty cool where we've come to, and the products or where the product currently stands. This permissions feature will allow bigger stores, bigger operations to now come onto QFloors. So we're pretty excited about that. Anything last, Alicia? No last questions, I don't think. Anything last for you? All right. Hey, we appreciate everybody joining us today, and it's been great to be with you. Thank you, Alicia, for running us through a lot of those new advanced features that we have in QPro. We'll talk to you all later. Yep. Bye-bye, guys. Where are we at here?